United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you pray with me? Eternal God, as we begin another session of the Carroll Junction Board of Alderman, we ask that you invest in us, in this board, your strength and wisdom to fortify us and guide us so that we may enhance the prosperity of our community and improve the quality of life for those you've entrusted us to serve. It's in your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, next is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments, changes, or corrections to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, we need to amend the agenda and do away with number 12.
Number 11.
Number 12. Well, you guys don't have the new ones.
Oh, is that the wrong number?
Which is the closed session.
Yes. Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by David Powell to amend the agenda by eliminating number 12, the closed session. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. That is moved from the closed session. That's moved from the agenda. Okay, now are there any other comments or corrections to the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
First by Don Allen, second by David Pyler. Approve the agenda as presented with the correction of moving number 12. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative. The agenda is approved as amended. Next is approval of the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting on March 19th, 2024, and approval of disbursements. Are there any comments or corrections or discussion about the consent agenda?
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, the consent agenda is now approved. Next is public forum. Anyone wants to speak in public forum? Okay, let me read this then. All persons wishing to speak to the mayor and board of aldermen during the public comment portion of the meeting should come forward one at a time and stand at the podium, then state your name and address and the subject matter you wish to comment upon. All comments should be directed to the mayor in a civil manner. Comments are limited to 5 minutes unless the mayor or board of aldermen grants additional time. It is the mayor's responsibility to maintain these rules are followed and to maintain order and decorum. If you have a question, the mayor and board of aldermen may, of course, provide an immediate response. However, the mayor and board of aldermen may also provide no response or response at a later time as they deem appropriate. Are there any public comments?
My name is Shalelle Lauber. I am 6 months of focus. I just wanted to thank everybody who helped contribute towards the Citizens for CJ PD committee. All the people who went out, knocked on doors, all the donations that we got, all the hard work, the thought, and the work that everybody did, all the members that helped with that. And that's really all I wanted to do, is just to thank everybody. Their help was appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Mr. Mayor, I have one that's coming across from a lady that has ALS that I'll read to you if that's okay.
Sure.
Because my name is Tammy Greenberg. I live at 1116 Marie Lane in Barbara. I'd like to speak on Bluegrass Festival. I think we should expand on our strengths to gain more revenue. It takes her a little bit.
Yeah.
Get Cowboy Kent in here or some celebrities. Maybe at the high school and make it big at Bingville again. More music, more cars. sort of like the Maple Leaf Festival with more of everything.
How about when she's done, you read the whole thing over again so everybody can understand what you're saying, please?
You betcha. Anyway, just an idea thrown out.
Okay. Now go through the whole thing.
Okay. My name is Tammy Greenberg, 1116 Marie Lane in Briarbrook. I'd like to speak on Bluegrass Festival. I think we should expand on our strengths to gain more revenue. Get Cowboy Kent in here or some celebrities. Maybe at the high school and make it a big Bingville again. More music, more cars. And sort of like the Maple Leaf Festival with more of everything. Anyway, just an idea thrown out. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks.
Would anyone else like to speak at public forum? Last call for public forum. Everyone will move on. Next is a presentation of a life-saving award. I'd like to read this. On Monday, May 29th, 2023, Memorial Day, Chief McCall was on a motorcycle ride with his family and friends, and they stopped for lunch at Flat Creek Restaurant in Republic, Missouri. While eating lunch, they noticed a commotion at another booth. An elderly female was slumped forward, and the male subject began pulling on the female. Chief McCall approached them, and the male subject said the female was choking on something. The female was unresponsive by this time. Chief McCall performed the Heimlich maneuver on her. After several times, the food in her throat started coming out. Chief McCall instructed the male, which is later identified as her son, to sweep her mouth with his finger, at which point she began to gag and spit the remaining food out. Her airway was cleared, and she began breathing. She was able to sit up and talk. An ambulance was called, and they transported the female to the hospital. If not for Chief McCall's actions that day, the female likely would not have survived. For this reason, Chief McCall was presented with the life-saving award. Chief. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Make sure Steve signs that, would you?
Yep, I also have one for Officer Conway, if he would come forward.
Good.
On Wednesday, May 3rd, shortly before 9 a.m., School Resource Officer Danny Conway was dispatched to a residence on Spring Hill Drive for a report of a domestic in progress. While en route to the call, he was informed that the call was actually an overdose. When he arrived and entered the house, he heard screaming upstairs and went upstairs where he located the caller and the caller's daughter, who was unconscious and not breathing. Officer Conway administered Narcan to the unresponsive female. He also started CPR on the subject. A short time later, she began breathing and was transported to the hospital by ambulance. Thanks to the quick actions of Officer Conway, the female did survive the overdose. I hereby present this life-saving award to Officer Danny Conway.
Thank you to wish you the best of the Carl Junction Police Department. Next is discussion on transferring municipal court cases to circuit court. Steve, you want to comment on this?
Yes, and it's also in your administrative report too. Tracy has tendered her resignation as court clerk and will be leaving us. Friday will be her last day. Elena and I took that opportunity to reach out to the Office of Supreme Court Administrators, OSCA, and see about transferring our court to the Associate Division. We had a WebEx with them today. They had sent a checklist of everything that we have to go through to do that. We got a couple of ordinances that will have to be passed that we've passed on to Mr. Talley. I think there was something else that we passed on to you too, but I don't remember. Anyway, I've talked to The judge already, he's got 34 years with us as our judge, and I talked to our prosecuting attorney with us. There's a lot to do. They say it takes up to 6 months to complete it. So there's several things that we, in those steps of things that we have to do. And probably one of the most important is figuring out what we do in the meantime between when she leaves and this can actually happen. How we handle court on a monthly basis, that type of thing, and how we're going to do it. Tracy did say that she's just a phone call away, if we need help. Renee has graciously stepped up and said that she would do what she can to help with the transfer also if we have to.
I like Mr. Talley, your legal counsel. I'd like to, do you have any comments, positive and negative, you'd like to say?
The
what
other
we
thing
have is?
that Steve asked me to do was investigate.
There you go.
And so I thought investigation meant, besides passing an ordinance, talking to the court clerk of the Jasper County Circuit Court, who will be handling the paperwork. And I spoke to her. I spoke to the judge, John Nicholas, who will be handling the cases that are transferred to him. And of course, I talked to Mark Elliston, our judge, and Doug Miller. What I don't know is whether the decision has already been made to make this transfer. There are pros and cons to a transfer. This whole book, our city code, our only enforcement mechanism that we have for any of our ordinances is to bring them to municipal court. And right now, that municipal court is a very local thing where you appoint the judge, you appoint the prosecutor. When this transfer occurs, Judge Nicholas will hear those cases, and he'll hear them. He'll have our ordinances in front of him. They routinely do, but he's also hearing Airport Drive and Purcell and I don't know. When I spoke to him earlier today, he listed close to a dozen different communities that he hears these same cases from. He sets a docket. It's in Carthage. Your citizens who receive citations will have to go to Carthage instead of Carl Junction to respond to any complaint against them. They will have to wait while all these other cities' cases are heard. Our witnesses will have to wait while all the other cities' cases are heard. Carl Junction's cases will not be number one priority as it is here. Probably they're going to be pretty far down the list. I don't mean to predict that it will be at the bottom, but they are last at this point to appear. So there are just some downsides to transferring this. The legislature wanted to do away with municipal courts. They passed Senate Bill 5 and made it very, very tough to maintain a municipal court. Duquesne looked at transferring their municipal court a couple of years ago. And I don't prosecute here in Carl Junction, but I do prosecute over in Duquesne. And frankly, I was indifferent whether they transferred it or not. But they looked at the loss of control over their ordinances and their community. And I just think that's something that you ought to think about. I don't know what the savings or not are. Steve knows this. All the old cases under the N-code system are going to have to be dismissed. All the old fines are going to have to be thrown out. All of that is a loss right off the top. I don't know what we're talking about, but they will not take those over to Jasper County. So we have no enforcement mechanism. And those cases, I don't know, am I right? I don't think there's a way to save those old cases.
No, they also suggested that the municipal judge dismiss all of those, either credit and fines or just dismiss.
So they're done. Everything is on the books that is not in the show me system, which we've had about a year.
You know, we've had it since 2021.
2021. 3 years.
Okay, those can be transferred, but the older cases that are on the books, the old warrants, all have to be thrown out. I'm not suggesting we should do this. I don't know what the best thing is, but it does represent a loss of local control over what your codes are, and your enforcement mechanism. It's not a great mechanism to begin with. I mean, it has lots of shortcomings, but it is a judge you appoint. It is something that's heard here. It's something that, even though we want justice to be blind, there is more of a local flavor to the whole system, frankly, than transferring it over to Carthage to a judge who is hearing lots of cases. So I
appreciate your opinion. Obviously, we need to discuss this a lot more. I think it should be code and nuisance. I think code should look at that. Committee, what do you guys think? That's probably I don't think it's budget or human resources or public facilities. I think code needs to look at it, either have it, talk about it, discuss it, get opinions from everybody on all sides and see what we think.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Attorney, when you say we'll lose control of our codes, though, we've set the codes, so the codes are still going to be there, right?
codes are there.
I mean, so they're not. It's not like they're going to be able to go in and change the codes. We'll just
No,
have to change it so that they handle them.
No. The only point I was making is it's a judge who has no connection to the city of Carl Junction that hears them. And he hears those and a lot of other communities' cases as well. So in a very fair situation, if justice is blind, it will be very, very blind in that situation. That's all. And maybe that's as it should be. I think the legislature wanted to do away basically with municipal courts. They made it very hard to continue as a municipal court. That's why we have all these problems now. But as Judge Nicholas pointed out to me, the legislature was very active about this pre-pandemic when they passed that, but they've been a little quieter since then. Recently, they've kind of backed off a little bit. I don't mean to suggest they changed it, but they're not quite as hot as they were to do away with municipal courts. We may still end up there eventually.
Who all's on that committee?
Code and nuisance, that would be Rick as the chairman, Bob McAfee, Bill McGuire, and you. But I think you need to.
I don't mind doing it. I think we should, but I guess my question is, just because Tracy's leaving, Tracy, we can't do it anymore?
No.
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 So we could
It's
replace
just an
her.
opportune time to do it, is what it is.
It sounded like just because she can't do it anymore.
Oh,
we're
no.
just gonna do it.
Oh, no.
No.
That is not the case at all.
Okay.
You just have to train somebody else.
We've been talking about it for a while, and this was just an opportunity.
Yeah, this has been a subject with.
We've discussed it,
with
just like we
budget
discussed
and
dispatch
HR,
for years.
Both committees for a couple of years, what to do with it. We got pretty close a year ago, probably. Also, so.
Because it's all misdemeanors, and we really don't have a lot of weight behind us on collecting anything anyhow, the way they've done the municipal.
Well, it's just something that, I think code needs to look at.
I do have, if I could, I'd like to get a meeting as soon as possible with code. I do have a meeting with the prosecuting attorney and the judge on Friday.
This week?
To start looking at the files and see what it is. Tracy, I think, has all of the files pulled. They separate those files into 3 different categories. No plea, warrants, and something else.
Basically with the disposition, payments with the disposition, no payments and no.
Yes. 2 of them the judge looks at, 1 of them the DA has. So if we could do that Wednesday or Thursday, that'd be awesome.
I'm sure it would be.
This
Have to
week,
be in the afternoon or something, because I have evening events both Wednesday.
Yeah, I expected afternoon, either Wednesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon.
So I'm open both afternoons for, an hour or something. What about the rest of you?
We have one other meeting on Thursday afternoon, but
It'll be
that's
late. It'll be after 5.
Yeah, that'll be after 5. So.
The rest of the committee, can you make it Wednesday at 1?
Wednesday at 1.
Bill?
Wednesday at 1. That'd be great. Then we can, and we'll go over this checklist with you.
1,300. Okay.
Any other discussion? Item Mr. Court. If not, we'll move on to ordinances. First is an ordinance approving the 2025 fiscal year budget.
May we put this ordinance on first reading by title only?
second.
Was what Donna Allen, second by Roger Spencer, to put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance adopting the 2025 fiscal year budget.
Discussion.
Well, as the budget committee, there was discussion last meeting. There was some concerns. We did meet. We went over a lot of information, and having looked over all of that and talking with the city clerk who spends weeks on this and the administrator and looking into it, do believe this is going to be sustainable. Of course, we are always going to have to be looking at other methods of funding, but with getting rid of the dispatch, I think that made a big change in it. So it was the committee's vote to go ahead and recommend approval for the budget. It is balanced, and hopefully when we get the pro forma next time with the larger budget, we should see a change in some of our funding allowed by the state.
Mike.
I just kind of want to rehash, I think, where we're at this point. I've been hearing different things from different people, and maybe I'm way off here, but the budget committee, of course, meets to set the budget, and they met over 5 or 6 different meetings and talked about revenues and expenditures for all the different departments, and then came up with a budget. And then after they convened with all their meetings, then I noticed that there was some raises snuck in there that weren't talked about in any of the budget meetings. 10 to 14% raises, historic raises. And they talked about the police department getting some raises and things like that, but this was across the board. And so then that's where we were at the last meeting, and they decided to have another meeting to kind of talk about that. In the meantime, apparently the entire city staff got told that they were getting raises without any kind of approval by the budget. And so they all then were told, wait a second, now the budget committee is going to decide maybe to backtrack on those raises. So then they all appeared at the last budget meeting. I wasn't there. Sorry, I wasn't able to go. I'm not part of that budget committee. And I know it was open meeting, but I wasn't there. But apparently the entire city staff showed up wanting to know, you're going to take away our raises. And so that's, I don't know. I mean, of course, they weren't happy about that. And so then the budget committee, for lack of a better word, were bullied into approving this budget. that they weren't really at the time thinking was sustainable. And then just heard from LaDonna that apparently it is sustainable at this point. But I just don't feel like this is the way things are meant to operate. I don't know. In my time here, it hasn't been like this before, but went wrong somewhere, I think, on creating this. And
Well, and I will respond to that because there was concern, and we looked at, we had some pretty involved conversation. A lot of, I think what happened, we had communication problems for one thing, because in the past we've done like a standard cost of living, pretty much. That hasn't been that much. So it just got applied across the board. So the administration was thinking, well, we always apply it across the board. Well, we never dealt with that kind of an increase before. So we, on the committee, were not putting that together. We were figuring the PD. Now, after we talked and went back a few years and looked at, with the crazy inflation rates and the CPI, of course, it fell behind, because like when you're hitting 7, 8, 9%, you can't come in every year and keep up with that. So I wish we could have done a better job keeping up with that all along. Now, what we did stress, and I know the city administrator is working to address that, I'm sure HR will be involved and everything too, is going forward, so we do not have any confusion, and hopefully we don't get that far behind on trying to compensate good employees, is to come up with a program where we have like a cost of living, like a minimal cost of living, and then actually do evaluations every year that will also be like a merit base, because that way we make sure that we're recognizing the hard work ethic and everything else, and we're not getting back into this situation. When I know there was some discussion that, well, everybody's getting it just because the PD's getting it, which that was a lot of this discussion we went into. Is like, if you're going to do across the board, do a cost of living, we'll look at this other, and we are. But if you go back, there have been times in the past when we've looked back over this, that the whole thing, when you talk about self-funding, which I know there was some discussion and confusion among some people this time what self-funding means. Well, the PD is never going to be self-funding. They are not meant to be self-funding. There's laws in place that you can't, have over so many percent of come from citations and this and that. We don't want to be a Max Creek kind of deal. But they are not a self-funding department for that. Now, the Public Works, as far as the wastewater, water, a percentage of all of the salaries in City Hall are paid from a department that we can go in and make a very minimal change that sometimes is no change to the citizens on their rate. Sometimes it's a penny, whatever, but you can fund those. So looking back over it, a lot of the problem was, you can look at it two ways, like, well, the PD got a raise and they had to give up dispatch, so now everybody gets one. But you can also look at it and say, well, everybody else could have had one before, but didn't think it was fair to give them when we couldn't give the PD. So I think it turned into just kind of a comedy of errors in one way, because we had the people who plugged in the raises that always before we set the amount and it just went across the board. When we were talking specific, and we were talking specific on the PD, because we had to come up with that funding, which means the only way to come up with the funding to even make this possible at all was to move dispatch. So once that was done, we can plug it in. It's not going to cover everything. Moving dispatch will not cover everything, but there's enough we pulled, like from the cigarette tax and that kind of stuff, to go in. So it was just putting all of those numbers together, projecting. Now, we still have to keep on getting in that sales tax, which is what we're concentrating on, getting in the retail, getting in the production, that kind of thing. Hopefully people went out and looked at the use tax today to see that as a way to support. But there was a lot of confusion, and I take part of that responsibility. I got an email with a spreadsheet. I thought it went to the committee, found out a couple days later it hadn't. So that's kind of what brought the delay, because we all needed to be on the same page. I don't think that we were bullied. I think everybody kind of, held their ground because we have to make the best decisions we can for the city and all the citizens as a whole. So I don't think we were bullied into it. I mean, I can understand people being upset, but I don't think it was a deal like we caved because, we were up against the employees. And the thing is, every employee, every department is valuable. And we don't want anybody to think they're not. We're just trying to put a process in place now that we can actually acknowledge those employees that are working hard and doing a good job. And Steve's come up with 2 or 3 different sample programs that, like I said, I'm sure HR is going to look at between now and the next year, and we won't run into this again. We just won't run into this again.
My question is, last year we went through raises. What percent did we give everybody?
3%, wasn't it?
What was inflation last year?
2.
No,
We gave 2 or we gave 3? It was 6.5 was what CPI came back on.
yeah, so basically,
We're waiting.
Yeah,
we cheated all the employees last time we gave them raises. If we're giving them a cost of living raise, because the cost of living went up 6.5%, we gave them 3%. That's the only thing I'll have to say about why. I don't know what all these are, what it all figures out that way. So we're a year behind is what happens.
If there was some sort of steadfast rule that you must always give raises according to.
No, there is no steadfast rule for that. No, we can cut all our salaries if you want to. I mean, we can do that. And actually, the budget is the budget. The budget is not something that's concrete. You can always change it. We change the budget, end of next month, end of this month. We're going to have a whole list of things that we have to change the budget on so we can balance it. Because we spent more money here, we didn't spend enough money here. We have to balance it out, so we have that at the end of the year. A budget is what it is. It's a budget. It's not something that's fixed.
And hopefully, especially what we're doing at the PD, hopefully will allow them to use that as recruitment and retention. Because if we can get in some more officers like we're wanting, that's going to cut down our overtime too. I mean, which a big part of right now, what we're seeing in some of the numbers, it's not that losing dispatch won't cover these officer pay. It's all of the overtime that goes in and hits. And I mean, it's crazy overtime. So hopefully if we can staff more, you're going to see those overtime numbers come down. And maybe even we can look at encouraging people to, like, when they have vacation, rather than trade in their vacation or pay out their vacation, they'll be staffed well enough that they can take vacation because they need to anyhow. I mean, you don't need that burnout. Vacation is there for a reason. It's for the employees to recharge and everything. So hopefully between those, if we can cut the overtime, if we can maybe have the people actually get to get away for a while, take vacation and not like sell it back because they can't take it. I think that's going to make a big impact too, because that overtime with being so short on officers and everything, it's burning them out and it's killing the budget.
Make a motion that we put the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by David Pyle, second by Roger Spencer, put this ordinance on second reading by title only. The clerk, please read the title.
An ordinance adopting the 2025 fiscal year budget.
So I have a question.
Further discussion?
I have a question about, we mentioned police getting a dispatch multiple times now. When does that happen?
Mark?
We actually we transferred to Jasco yesterday at 10 a.m. We are keeping the full-time dispatchers on until April 19th to make sure there's no progress or problems with the transition. So far, it's went exceptionally well. So not that we're anticipating any problems or anything, but just to make sure, April 19th should be the last day.
Any further discussion?
Yeah,
Can
Oh.
ask a question?
back here.
Well, I'm sorry, but
Did I have to sign in?
you should have gotten that at public forum.
Sorry.
Obviously, it's kind of like a congressional hearing.
I get
They have that, they don't have that. I'm sorry. I apologize. But this is just for discussion on the council. Any further discussion from the council?
Move to put this ordinance on final passage.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by David Powell to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. We have 7 yeses and 1 no. The ordinance passes.
That's my last vote. I can't make it be a yes.
It's not your
Like I
last.
say, it's not a
There's no
finalized thing.
ordinances.
It's not a finalized thing. Okay, next is an ordinance establishing salaries for city employees effective 5/1/24.
I'm going to put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Roger Spencer, put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance establishing salaries for city employees effective May 1st, 2024.
Discussion.
Move we put this on second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion by Rick Flynn, second by Don Allen, to put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance establishing salaries for city employees effective May 1st, 2024.
Any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to put this ordinance on final passage. This is a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. Seven yeses and 1 negative. You lied. That was your last chance.
No.
The ordinance passes. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you what the ordinance was on the first one either.
2405 was the first one. It's 26.
2405 and 2406. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Next is an ordinance appointing the city officers to the city of Carl Junction.
I move we put this ordinance on first reading by title only.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn. Put this ordinance on first reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance appointing city officers to the city of Carl Junction to serve the ensuing year until new officers are duly appointed.
Discussion. It's pretty straightforward. Looks like everybody's name's still on here the same.
Move we put this ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second. Motion by Don Allen, second by Bob McAfee. Put this ordinance on second reading by title only. Will the clerk please read the title?
An ordinance appointing city officers to the city of Carl Junction to serve the ensuing year until new officers are duly appointed.
Any further discussion?
You don't see the judge on there. Is that separate from that?
It's every 2 years.
Thank you.
I didn't see him on there on mine either.
Good catch.
I called her today about that and then I thought I'd skipped it.
Is there any further discussion?
Move we put this ordinance on final passage.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Flynn, to put this ordinance on final passage. It's a hand vote to go to electronic voting. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, please vote electronically. Eight in the affirmative, the ordinance passes. That is ordinance number
2407.
07. Good guess, right? Next is the administration report. Ready? Where's the administration report? Must be in mine.
Steve, what was I supposed to remind you to?
Oh, good. He's really got it down. Any comments for the city administrator? Any gripes?
I was
There was
supposed to.
something that
I was supposed to remind him about something and then. The cleaning.
It's like nothing to do.
Oh, cleaning, yes.
Cleaning.
Janitorial and cleaning. The company that we use now is a franchise of Jani-King. Our contract, it expires here in the next couple of months, and they are, until we can figure out what we're gonna do, they are going to take it on as their own, which her husband has a separate cleaning company. So they will do the cleaning for a while until we can get a maintenance / custodian or figure out what we're gonna do as far as that goes for the PD in this building, so.
Okay. Anything else for the city administrator?
When do we expect to hire a person? When would they start
For,
cleaning?
we haven't even got anything drawn out for
I
a,
know, but like after the contract expires.
oh, yeah.
When would be the ideal start?
I don't have a date for it. Within a month, I would think. They'll pick it up on a daily basis after the expiration, and then we can get.
You're working on contract with Mid Central to clarify the terms of that agreement.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for the city administrator? Very well. We'll move on to department reports. Let's go to the building inspector's report. Roofing still number one. Lot of roofs.
And I imagine after last night, it'll pick up some more.
Especially in Carthage.
Yeah, Carthage. But thank God we don't have Carthage. Anything for any comments about the building inspector's report since he's not here? She's not here, pardon me. Jamie's gonna kill me. Very well then, we'll move right along to the public works report. What you have in front of you here. Jay and Harvey are both here. If you want to ask either one of them a question. I see you finally got the cement in on Briarburg Drive. Still high. I kind of go over it like that now. Speed limit.
Have you noticed that the meter shut-offs are down?
Oh, meter shut-offs are down? Really? What, 12? Well, everybody get a raise?
Not even gonna talk about that.
I have some questions.
Yeah, Mike.
Do we have any of that leaf compost left over?
Yeah, we got a big pile.
Okay. Did you ever put any on Country Club Park?
Yep.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah, they did.
On the south side.
Yeah.
It didn't go very far.
No, it needs.
It did not go very far.
15 times as much there still. So.
I got a question. What about these signs we got in for the speed limit things? When we gonna get those?
They're put together, ready to go.
You ready to go? Well, when you got soccer? Saturday?
We do.
Got soccer at Briarburg Saturday. I'll try and get them up to show the speed limit down there
Good.
Saturday morning. So we don't have any kids run over.
The next 7 weeks starting this Saturday.
And we've taken away half your parking.
I was in charge of the schedule, so I made sure we don't have too many games going at once. I try to really spread it out
Well, it's good using the younger kids at Country Club.
for practice.
For
mainly.
practice, yeah, man, that's
We'll get
good.
some dirt out there.
That's good. All right, anything else for Public Works?
I got one thing.
Yes, Jay.
Are they gonna clean the dirt up where they dug them holes, or do we need to?
I really don't know.
There's dirt around every one of them still.
The golf course,
Okay.
the foot golf.
Don't take it over country club.
And they dug one hole that don't even have nothing in it.
I know they were short one piece of equipment, so
That's what.
I don't really know. I'll see if I can find out.
Anything else? Moving right along, then we'll go to the PD. Had some pretty good stuff on PD today with some awards. You guys are great. Anything else for PD? You want to say anything, Mark?
I was gonna bring up the old dispatch thing, but that's already taken care
How about the electronic ticketing, stuff like that? Is it working yet?
of. We have a meeting Thursday at 1:30 for the administrators to get that going. So it's past their quality assurance, and so they just have to get with me, Steve, and Dickie, and iron out final things, and then they'll be put in service.
Cool. Good. Anything else for the chief?
Any more?
On top of that, we did the DigiTicket and the Omnigo report management system at the same time. The officers had their training on Omnigo this morning. They will start doing test reports in that, and we should be switched over to it fully by the end of this month also.
Great.
Do you have any more officers you're interviewing or?
Yeah, we've got 2 in the works right now that have past experience. They're trying to get their post certifications active. And then there's 2 or 3 more in the academy that we can look at after that.
Sounds good.
We might get a full crew.
Yeah, we'll get a full crew. Anything else? Anything else for the chief? Very well, then go to committee reports, budget and finance.
Well, we adopted the budget tonight. Other than that, I think we're done for a little bit until we start doing the amended budget, in a month?
End of this month.
Into this month. So, anyhow, other than that, we're just waiting until you tell us to see if we can afford something.
Good. Code nuisance, Rick.
Just, we have a meeting tomorrow at 1 PM, 1300 for discussing transfer of municipal court cases to circuit courts.
Anything for code nuisance? Human resources, Roger.
Nothing.
Anything for human resources? Public facilities, Mike. We had a public facilities meeting last week. Talked about some ongoing projects. We didn't come up with any recommendations. Gathering some more information. I added some bids that came in to the public facilities committee to look at regarding a couple of basketball courts, one that needs some work and one that's a future project.
You done anything on country clubs, playground stuff?
You were going to, for Center Creek, you mean?
Or Cedar Creek, I mean, yeah.
We're going to go to the same company that we went with for the Lakeside and have them
Put them
design
on that, yeah.
something.
Good. I think that's supposed to be in May for Lakeside. And hopefully the pavilion will be done into this month. They're pretty far along on that. Well, there was a bunch of water in the pavilion today after the 2.5 inches of rain last night. Anything else?
No.
Anything for,
I
Yes.
was gonna ask about Lakeside, maybe an old business, I don't know, but do we kind of have an update, like when is our completion date? Do we have any?
Well, it should, like the mayor just said, at the end of the month, we should, the pavilion will be finished. And the last word we had was by the end of May, the playground will be. And then we will have to schedule a ribbon cutting because the people from Mo Parks, they want to come down from Jeff City to that type of thing too.
oh, cool.
And then what do we need to do as far as like the reimbursements, getting money back from that project?
Crystal's been doing those as we go along.
How about
We've
the
got money
decal?
back already?
We've gotten one back.
How about the decal that the school so graciously tried to make for us?
I haven't heard any more on that.
Okay,
Whether, yeah,
talk to them.
Yeah.
The door's in. You
Yep.
can put it on anytime.
Have we've got back one reimbursement. Do we have any more ready to go in now? Or how are we looking?
It has to go in sections. So like the very first one was all, for several months worth. So because I can only do 3 altogether. So I have to section it off. So I'm collecting them as we're getting them. And then when we get to that point, I'll send that in. They're pretty quick on it.
It took what, like 2 weeks last time maybe?
It didn't take very long.
Yeah, money back would be good.
Very good. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Nothing else for, okay, next is economic development, Holly.
Yes, we had the guys from Retail Strategies came into town last week and scoped out the town, got a lot of properties they're gonna check on. They're gonna do a Zoom presentation for us in about 2 weeks, so I'll let everybody know when that is in case anybody wants to jump on.
Good. Sorry I was out of town. Anything else for economic development? Very well then. We'll move right along to unfinished business. David?
Nothing, sir.
Bill? No, sir. Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Ladonna?
No one finished.
I have nothing unfinished. Roger?
Nothing.
Rick?
I try not to put a whole lot of, I don't know, credence, I guess, into the Facebook post that you see, but something came across I saw last week about the futsal. Is that what I have to say? Futsal?
Foot golf.
Foot
Foot
golf. Foot golf. and some it seemed like multiple concerns about the upkeep of that portion of it. Who's going to cut the grass? Who's going to do this? And it's similar people are making similar complaints. It seems like, but as far as people are concerned about the golf course and upkeep in general. Like some of it hasn't been mowed, or whose responsibility is it to take care of all that, as far as mowing stuff that butts up to their yard, things like that.
Sitting right over there.
So,
Jay.
Okay.
We did, that area where a lot of that foot golf course is, the residents mow it.
Yeah, that's what they're
And
complaining
they're
about, is
complaining
they've been
about
mowing
it
it.
now because they've got mowed around it.
So, well, that was one of the biggest complaints that I've read, and again, it's Facebook, so it's got to be true, right?
Yeah, where's that?
It's on the internet.
We've never had to mow it because all the residents own it. There's one little piece of ground in there, it might be 40 by 60 that we have to mow that they won't mow. So it ain't no big deal. We park across the road, run over and mow it and mow the rest of it.
Okay, I'll just make sure.
But I did have to meet with the guy the other day out there because he's complaining about being out there where he mows.
Then I had a question about, as far as the futsal itself. I think a couple meetings ago, we weren't sure exactly where they were going to be placed, and I thought we were going to talk about that, and then now they're already in place. Did they get moved from where we had concerns, or did they just get put?
You should have brought that up in public facilities. That's
I don't know, should have.
I don't know. I did pass along all the complaints that I'd heard, and I know that the person that's working on that was going to move all those away from the driving range, away from the soccer fields, so you don't have to pass or you don't have to walk down the road to go from one hole to another. All those were going to be changed. I don't know really where we're at with this right now. I know he was laying things out, and I guess
Probably need to get a layout.
Yeah,
Basically,
it basically comes somewhere from the soccer fields and comes right up to Sunnybrook between West Briarbrick Lane and North Winwood. And the last hole, I believe, is gonna be right there about 40 yards from Sunnybrook.
Okay. Yeah, we got a layout when they're all done, so we can have it out there so people can look and see where the holes are. So,
I suppose the thing about it, it's not portable, but it is movable. It's digging a hole, and there's nothing permanent anywhere. So I think probably when we find something that's not working, I think it can be relocated somewhere.
I like it.
To somewhere that is working,
Like you're moving the cups.
basically.
That's all I have.
Oh, yeah. Bob?
I have nothing.
Holly?
Nothing.
Mr. Talley, unfinished. Lena?
No, sir.
Crystal? Steve? Jay?
No, sir.
Mark?
Nope.
Harvey?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go to new business. Holly?
No, sir.
Bob?
Nothing.
Rick?
No, sir.
Roger? I have nothing. LaDonna?
Sorry, I'll make it quick. This came up the other day in facilities, and I don't know if it's something that anybody else would be interested in or thinks it's a good idea. But we were talking about some of the improvements and maintenance and stuff on some of the parks. And the point was brought up, like we have so many new areas of development that are maybe more crowded that we're having to focus on, which I don't want to leave behind the people who bought starter homes or like us, bought a home, put down roots, lived in the same place for 35 years. It's not going to keep growing around us, but we need to focus on trying to take care of all the different areas. But when we were talking about that, one of the things that came up was we have some developers that are doing very large plats, like, 100 houses at a time or 90 or whatever that are there. And maybe if we could look at something in the code that when you have a developer coming in doing a big new addition, that we have something in the code that if they have over so many plats, so many lots, whatever, that they have to put in some kind of a green space, like a little pocket park. And then they could sign it over and we would maintain it afterwards, just like the streets, when they build the streets through and then they sign them over and we maintain them from there. And I don't know if that's anything anybody else is thinking about, but when we have developers that are coming in and doing great big additions, and then we want to make sure we have amenities for those areas, so then the city, our park budget is not increasing as the, footprint increases. So I don't know if that's something maybe that planning and zoning would look at or the code committee would look at. But I know there are communities that do that kind of thing. And I would think that some of the big developers might even like to put something in and get the credit for putting it in, and then we maintain it later.
LaDonna,
Yeah.
I spoke with Steve about that same thing, last week. And he said he was gonna talk to planning and zoning about that, see if
Okay.
that's something we can look at.
It would have eventually, if there is a change, it will have to go through planning and zoning. That'll be a change to that 400 chapter, 405 chapter, subdivision regulations, that type of things. It would end up going through planning and zoning. It would be public hearing on it. So.
Just something we were thinking about, because trying to keep up with the growth and everything. Anyhow, that's what I had.
All right, thank you. New business, Mike?
I have nothing, sir.
Bill?
Election results on the use tax. How soon will we get that?
10 o'clock.
Maybe 9, 10.
9, 10 o'clock.
Will you let us all know?
Will I? I'll be asleep.
I have my email up right now. I'm waiting.
But Donna can tell everybody.
If they update,
she'll
I'll
find
get
out.
it in a minute. But no updates yet. Of
that
course,
it?
I'll be asleep too.
David?
No, Mayor.
Mr. Talley?
Are we on new business?
New business, yes, sir.
There was a closed session that was tentatively scheduled today. That was because a lawsuit has been served on the city by a former employee. And the case has been turned over to our insurance carrier. They have accepted the case for defense. They have excluded coverage for a claim for lost wages or punitive damages, which are part of the claim. But the reason we had the closed session tentatively scheduled was to clarify whether or not the insurance defense firm that is defending the city will defend us on all the claims, including the ones that are not covered under the policy. And I had that conversation Thursday or Friday.
Yep.
Friday, Steve was out of town, and I thought we needed to know, and they assured me that they will defend all claims, and therefore the need for a closed session evaporated at that point. But I don't believe there's any other way for you to be informed of litigation, being city attorney. I thought I should inform you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Anything else?
No.
Elena?
Yes, sir. I put up there for everyone, there is a city officials training seminar. The closest one to us will be May 17th in Springfield. That is a most of the day thing. I've gone to it in the past. It's actually a pretty good overview of different things. So if anybody would like to attend that, please let me know and I will get you registered.
Very good. Is that it?
That's it.
Crystal? Steve?
One thing, the railroad will be in doing work out here on Pinell and 171 on the crossing. Right there, they will have that crossing closed from noon to 7 p.m.
What day?
Friday, this Friday.
Oh, that's a
They
really good
will-
day to do it.
They will put up detour traffic, run everybody up Karen Drive.
Okay.
We'll put it out on Nixle, right? Too.
Yeah.
Can we put that on the Facebook?
Put that on the website too.
I don't have notification.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Jay?
Does,
Mark?
Nope.
Harvey, since you're here,
no, sir.
is there any other business before the council?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Roger Spencer, second by David Fowler, we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 8 in the affirmative, we are adjourned. Thank you all for attending. We love it. We have a crowd. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say, you could get more. The vote on the ordinance.
So how can I find out what the election?
Well,
I don't do Facebook.